Hello, everyone. Welcome to the live stream. Let's just get started, right? No need for any intro music. No need for any sort of pomp and circumstance. It's a beautiful Wednesday night, July 30th. Um, it is hot, extremely humid in New York. My God, it's fucking hot. Anyway, what's happening with all of you? What's going on in the world? Uh, a lot actually. There's a lot going on since we last had a show. I mean, I was on Majority Report and Leftist Mafia last Thursday when Hulk Hogan died earlier that day, but that wasn't on this stream. um, there was that shooting in New York from a guy who apparently was a young competitive football player back in his day, uh, and claimed he was suffering from CTE, and so he decided to enter a building in New York and shoot a bunch of people where the NFL headquarters was, and I think he killed like 4 or 5 people, including himself. Horrible, horrible, horrible. And of course, the right wing had to jump to first of all, I think the first thing I saw about it was, oh, he's Middle Eastern, which was not true. Um, and even if it was, what does that have to do with anything? This was not a sort of your run of the mill, I guess you can call it, sort of you know, ISIS inspired terrorist attack or anything like that. This was clearly a guy with mental illness. Second of all, the police officer who was killed, uh, you know, is a Bangladeshi Muslim man, father of two, I believe. Horrible um, that he was killed. But this is a guy who was everything they'd love to knock a shooter for as a terrorist, but in this case, he was the police officer who showed up on the scene. You know, these guys can't help themselves. Another thing they saw, as these guys in the right wing, just to be clear, can't help themselves, but step on rakes. Um, then I think I saw that they were blaming Zoran Mamdani, the Democratic primary winner and the Democrats' mayoral candidate. They were blaming him for like defund the police, which, by the way, I should say he's not running on defund the police. They go on his past comments, but he's not running for mayor on a defund the police platform. He said that there should be money that goes towards you know in terms of when it comes to homeless individuals, mental health crises that do not include like a shooting. That there should be specialists on the scene instead of sending out cops. We've seen time and time again when police show up, they're for someone going through a mental health issue. They're ill prepared, and it ends up with a person being killed by police. Um, so that's basically what he's run on. No defund the police platform, but more importantly, he's not even mayor. This happened under Mayor Eric Adams, you know, the current mayor of New York, you know, the guy that they want to get behind to beat Mamdani because they are terrified of a Democratic Socialist mayor. It happened under that guy. the guy they want to beat, Mamdani, the current mayor of New York. It's, again, these guys can't help themselves. They just step on rake after rake after rake. If they really care. Um, but that's what it is. Let's see. Oh, people asking how to call in. All right, let's get right to calls, I guess, right? I mean, it's a later show than usual. I just started doing the stream again last week after a few weeks off. Not yet in the mode to have guests on, because still working out the baby's schedule, but definitely going to still have my regular streams, breaking down some news. But most importantly, the phone calls, which I fucking love, honestly, because basically we have like 5 or 6 mini interviews. By mini, I mean like 30 to 40 minutes with callers. But usually I go like an hour and a half with an actual guest. But anyway, so technically they are mini interviews. But anyway, let's get started with the calls, and I could, while we're waiting for calls, I could hit different news items if needed. 646 303 7337. 646 303 7337. I will take the calls as they come in. I will also be taking many drink breaks because it is so humid. My God. By the way, I will be on the Majority Report and Leftist Mafia tomorrow, as per usual, on Thursdays. So, people are asking me in the chat. We got some first timers. Mauricio Fuentes Gomez says, "Hi, Matt. Majority Report watcher here. First time catching your stream. Thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah, it's a little bit later than usual, and usually it starts a little bit more lively because I'm not tired, and we sometimes have a guest. But I think you're gonna get a good episode of the stream. Let's see. We already got calls coming in. Let's do this. Hey, what's your name? Where are you calling from? 651 area code. Who's this?
Hi, my name is Mauricio. I'm calling from
it's
St. Paul.
Mauricio. I was just reading your chat in the live stream, I think, right?
Oh wait, I'm sorry. This is Matt. I think I'm like lagging on my thing.
Yeah, this is Matt. Yeah, what's up?
Okay, sorry. I'm gonna pause your stream just because I'm getting like.
Oh yeah,
weird
you got it. All right, this is good.
So I guess I have a couple.
This is a good moment for me to tell everybody: if you call into the show, you got to pause the stream when I pick up the phone, because otherwise it's going to be impossible.
I did that.
Yep, perfect.
I have a couple of concerns, or just topics, or things that I want to hear your thoughts on.
Yeah,
now,
sure.
First is there's the whole I saw that YouTube is rolling out there's like an AI feature that's kind of trying to detect if you're like under 18.
Right.
And, like, I'm kind of wondering, what do you think? Like, what's motivating that? Like, why would they?
Your phone sounds weird now. You sounded perfect, and all of a sudden it sounds like you're like in a hallway. I think you might have turned yourself on speaker or something. Something is weird with your phone. I can't hear you anymore. Something happened with your phone. Hello? Something just happened with your call. I can't make out what you're saying. I had to hang up. If you want to try calling back in, I'll take your call again. But I did hear your first part of your question, the YouTube AI age verification. I don't really know exactly how it's going to work. I saw the story today. I haven't, I've had some time off from work to spend with the newborn, so I haven't been as connected and on top of news like this like I usually am. But I did see this story, and my understanding is it's going to verify your age using AI based on um, users' viewing habits. I don't exactly know how that's going to work. I will say there is a disturbing trend with age verification being rolled out across the internet on all sorts of things. And I do think that's a slippery slope into, first of all, I do think like it's good. I know there are negatives to it, but all in all, it is a net positive and also sort of a free speech right or issue, I should say, that you can be anonymous or at least not share personal details that you don't want to about yourself on the internet for the most part. And little by little, that's being whittled away to the point where you are being forced to share more and more. Now, obviously, I think like there are certain things that, you know, young people, children, kids should not have access to. But at the same time, I think it's it's a bizarre trend we're seeing. First of all, when it comes to the internet, I'm sorry, I really do think that's something where the parents have to have more responsibility in what their child is doing on the internet. And I say this as a parent with 3 children, 2 of whom are on the internet. We take precautions to make sure that they can access what they want to access, that's age appropriate, without, without stifling their ability to use the things that they want to use that are age appropriate. We go through the process of making sure they're not accessing things they shouldn't. They have the age appropriate filters on YouTube that we set. No AI guessing their age based on what they view. And you know what? Sometimes those predetermined filters are incorrect in terms of what we would let our children view. Like even on like the streaming platforms are a great example. Like, we have their profiles on various streaming platforms and sometimes there are family friendly, but maybe like PG or even PG-13 movies that we deem appropriate for them that they can't view on their profile because of, content filters, putting those ones in a higher, like those pieces of content, those movies or TV shows in a higher age bracket. And I disagree. So I don't think AI can do a good job of doing that, honestly. There are, I think on YouTube, I think the removing the comment section on things that are clearly for children, like little kids, like removing comments from Coco Melon makes sense to me. But then there are like, shows and movies that are on the cusp of being, they're for young people and they're for kids, but also they're for adults. Family movie, family content. And, there's been times where it's like, oh, I want to see what people are saying, and no, can't because the comment section's off because it's deemed kids content. When I don't really think that's exactly accurate, but it's not inaccurate either. I can't imagine AI getting this right. Also, what? So if you go back and watch something that like, listen, I'm not a big nostalgia guy. I think not just even this generation, recent generations, both past, present, and future, have been a little too over the top with the nostalgia, in my opinion. A little bit too much like, all right, get over it, grow up, guys, grow up. It's a little bit nauseating, but also In moderation, I think it's fine to go back and like, oh, my favorite kids show. Let's see an episode. And all of a sudden, you're going to be pegged by the AI as a kid because you're watching some sort of old nostalgic content. I think that's going to cause problems. Let's go back to the phones. 469. What's your name? What's your name? Where are you calling from? 469.
Is this me?
This is you. What's up? What would you like to talk about?
Oh, I've called in a couple times before. I've been calling since 2019. Not you specifically, but the Majority Report. And it sounds weird, because every time I've called, it always sounds kind of cryptic. It always sounds like I'm being very vague. But the reason I called back in 2019 that I think was very important was 2019, Jack Dorsey's Twitter owner at the time went to trial, was subpoenaed by Congress. And in that trial, it was revealed that he can't ban white supremacists, because if he did, he would have to ban Congress members. I don't know if you remember that.
I remember that. Did he say Congress members or did he say like Republicans in general?
Republicans in general, yes. But specifically congressmen as well, I think, is what one of the statements went down as.
Okay, right. I vaguely recall what you're talking about. I definitely recall it in general. I just don't recall the exact comments, but I know what you're talking about.
Okay, the reason I'm calling is because this is steps. I've called in since then, and these are little steps, little crumbs that I've been seeing, that I've been trying to call out and been just on the same topic over and over. That essentially just proved that it's always has been the KKK. One of the famous, a little popular saying among leftist circles is the reason we have all this problem, all this stuff that's going on today is because of 1865. We didn't punish the Civil War people, the perpetrators, hard enough.
Oh, right,
1865.
right. Yep.
1865 is also the year the KKK was founded.
Uh-huh.
Every single leftist person that talks and wants to talk about Hitler, Israel, those people, those institutions, they have their evil in this place and in history books, and it's well documented. Everybody knows about that. But what's weird is the KKK is native. It was on this soil, and as far as history, if you Wikipedia it, you Gronk it, GPI, whatever, Chat GPI, you look at when it ended, it's going to say sometime around the 1970s. And even at that age, you're talking about an institution that was around for over 100 years, doing unspeakable evils in response to losing the Civil War. Any leftist that doesn't talk about how they ended or any of their tactics that they implement that they see today, which is in essence everything that Israel's doing. People like to say, oh, Israel's evil, and they are. But all the tactics that they're doing, bar for bar, are taking from the KKK. So what I've been calling about since 2019 is, if it's the KKK, then how come nobody really talks about why their supposed end came in 1970s? Would you like to take a guess?
Go ahead and tell me.
I know it's a very rhetorical question. The real answer is, and you can chat GPI, since the 1930s, and I'm on my high horse again, Stetson Kennedy was this guy that inherited from his rich uncle a bunch of information from KKK members, because at that point the KKK had been around for 60 years. I'm talking about the 1930s. When he inherited all this information about the KKK, he realized, oh my God, the KKK isn't just this mythical bad guy. Because at the end of the day, I don't think there's a good description. You wouldn't call it a fascist regime. You wouldn't call it any of these things, which is really ironic when you think about it in terms of power and in terms of their legacy and history and perpetual legacy, that, they're not very clearly defined, and their end and demise hasn't been really well defined. That's why I keep calling you guys over and over again about comic books. This guy made Superman smashes the Klan.
About comic books, you said?
Yes, comic books. Since 2019, I've been calling about comic books. And every single time I mention Superman smashes the Klan, you guys dismiss me. You guys almost look at me like I'm crazy.
Why
But
did
if
I
you
wait?
Google that book,
When have I done? I don't think I've ever.
not you
Oh,
specifically,
okay.
but it's Emma and Sam. And the craziest
Why?
thing
Wait.
is
Why
that
do they
since
dismiss you about what? What do they dismiss you about?
about what I'm telling you about. So Superman smashes the Klan. Everything in that book was written. It's going to be credited to Stephen Yuan or something like that. When in reality, the work is Stetson Kennedy. Stetson Kennedy is super important because what happened was, without him, it would have never come out about all the practices, all the customs, all the mannerisms, and all the stupid, idiotic things the KKK were doing. Before the 1930s, they were just this organization of evil that had infiltrated all aspects of life. I'm talking about politicians, cops, doctors, anything and everything. There was people layered in society that were all members of the KKK. So if the leftist wants to, any leftist movement wants to take itself seriously, it shouldn't be focused on, flooding the zone or all this, that stuff or whatever. It really should be directly focused on how did the KKK get defeated. This is what he did. He compiled all this information and presented it in a comic book character. I hope that as I'm saying this, you're looking on Google for this specific book, because I know it just seems very out of nowhere. But so anyway,
No,
he
I'm
wrote
looking
this
up.
book.
This is not. This is you're not pulling this out of your ass. There's a whole. There's a lot out there about this. Actually, are you talking about the Superman versus the Ku Klux Klan, a true story of how the
Yes,
iconic superhero battled the Men of Hate by Richard Bowers?
yes, and every single time I call, and the reason it's very offensive to me, it's not because she's yucking my yum. I could care less. I'm a grown ass man. I'm gonna like what I like. She's gonna like what she likes. The problem is messaging and what she does, and Sam afterwards. Every single time we talk about comic books, for the most part, except for the past 2 years, and I hope I've had an influence whether they agree to it or not. But every single time I try to bring it back to role models and how comic books, if you guys are dismissive in the sense that you shouldn't look at them as, yeah, it's bad media. Yeah, Disney is horrible. Blah, blah, blah. That's cool, whatever. But what you're taking away is there's young listeners that might like comic books and might, through accident and osmosis, get good values.
Oh,
Cool.
I was a comic book reader all throughout my youth. I was a huge guy of boxes and
100%.
boxes of.
And Mr. Homeboy that's on you with leftist mafia always talks about X-Men being an allegory to anybody that's essentially not in the in group.
Right. Yeah.
So
I
I know
mean,
that there's,
yeah,
yeah,
absolutely.
100%. So what is very aggravating is that people know that that the majority of port is known for not liking comic books, but then they
Are they? This
say,
is.
yeah,
I'll
then
be.
they say,
I'm
then
not
they
trying to.
say, hold on, hold
This is
on,
absolutely
hold on, hold
news
on.
to me. Is that a thing? Like they're
It is, and if
I know.
every
I
single
know.
time somebody comments on comic books, every single time somebody comments on comic books, everybody apologizes preemptively and says, "I know you guys aren't a fan of comic books,"
Well, I
and
could.
it's a very big shame
I could
because
tell you this that
because
back in the day, this is I would when Gamergate was happening and I was like one of the journalists covering it, and I would bring it up for a segment on the Majority Report. I would get Michael Brooks. Well, usually it would be with Michael because Sam. It would be when I was hosting the shows with Michael, so Sam
right,
wouldn't be there. So Michael would roll his eyes and and give me shit for doing it, for covering it, for having a segment on it. But then years later, they said they've given me the credit of, you know what, Matt was right. This all mattered, and we dismissed it. So you know they ate their what's
they're
the
crow. They eat
yeah,
the
there
crow.
you go, there you go. That's
Well,
thank you.
Here's the thing is, I hope you're not trying to rush me
No,
to
go
hang up.
ahead.
Oh, okay. So the thing is, and again, it's not about yucking their yum. It's that a lot of the times in lieu, they would talk about The Godfather. And this isn't, I'm not laying the blame at them or doing anything, but just think of little pebbles, right? if every single time somebody said Mr. Rogers sucks, but actually, you know who's pretty cool? This gangster over here called Scarface, and continued along your way with all your leftist ideologies, where you're sending mixed signals, because what you're doing is you're saying comic books kids aren't really cool, but gangsters are. Is it a surprise we have a gangster in the White House? I'm not saying it's Sam and Emma's fault, but I'm just saying, like, if they change one voter's mind to being a comic book person's fan that could have had good morals to gangsters because they like gangster movies, like, for them to not connect those two dots, especially Sam being a parent, that's the crazy thing. Like, Emma, I get it, she's not a parent, but that's why last time I called right before the election, and that time I called, I was the first one on Majority Report to coin the phrase or say the phrase that Miss Rachel is the Mr. Rogers of today's generation. I said that time, and not only did I say that, I re-brought up the Stetson Kennedy. And not only this is the craziest part, it feels like every time, and I don't know if it's like, audibly, I know I sound Hispanic, I don't know if it's just like a dismissiveness or like a thing that, like, because I'm talking to you, and I know that if you're not looking up what I'm telling you, it just sounds like this crazy guy with no accolades to his name is telling me some stuff that I've never heard about.
No, I don't even think that's the thing. I think just generally, when Sam is
right.
disinterested,
And I'm not trying to say
this
it's
has
not a
happened.
racial thing.
This
It's
has
a
happened.
dismissiveness thing.
No, I'm not even saying it's been since I've been there, years and years and years and years ago. Generally, if Sam is not interested in a topic, he can't fake it. So so
And that's
he'll
completely
just
fine.
be
And that's
like
completely fine, because I'm not,
all right,
because my
next.
thing is that, and look, and that's completely fine. And that's why I was saying I never called in and said, hey, look, my honest opinion is, if you're talking about comic books and gangster movies, you should understand that from an adult perspective, that's fine. But if there's young people that can't separate the two, what you're saying is gangsters who objectively serve no purpose in society, they only make things worse. You're comparing that type of media to children's media ultimately, because at the end of the day, comic books are rated for kids. so that was a big thing.
I wouldn't take it too
on
personally, but that's also why Sam has people like me and Brandon on, who fill that geeky void.
no, and we need you guys. But what I was going to say was that. So when I called, I think it was, I want to say in October or September, right before Trump got elected. And in it, I did give a very cryptic, again, because I'm going KKK. Everything we're seeing right now is KKK policies. You guys just did a review on the Mehdi Hassan.
Did he? I wasn't there that day, so I don't even know. But I'm sure they did cover it.
No, I'm sorry. I'm mixing two things up, and I feel like you're going to hang up on me.
I'm sure they covered it. I just wasn't.
Everything.
I'm sure they covered it. I just was. I
No,
think.
no,
I think people have to understand.
I'm
When I'm
just saying
when
two
I'm
things.
not on the show, I do watch it occasionally, obviously, but I can't always watch it. You guys probably watch Majority Report more than I do. so if I'm not there on a Thursday,
I'm sorry.
I might not.
I'm not calling to give grievances to you, is what I'm saying. And that in my rush to say these two things that I wanted, these two thoughts in my head, I'm mixing them up, and
That's fine.
I'm sorry for that.
So what did you want? No. So what did you want to? What did you want to say? Because I just want to make sure that everyone
gets time.
Yeah, gets
I
time.
know.
Yep.
September, October, when I called that time and I mentioned Stetson Kennedy, and I mentioned that in essence that Stetson Kennedy had infiltrated the Klan, I told him that that is the reason the KKK started going down in participation. So from the 30s all the way through the 60s and 70s, the KKK got dismantled because Superman beat them metaphorically. Now, this is just, unless you read the books, right now what I'm saying just sounds facetious. But what happens is if you read this comic book, I have it on my desk, it's one of my favorite books, only a couple pages, it's not too big, and it's a picture book because it's, again, subjects for kids. In those books, he called out all their tactics, all their meeting places, and infantilized their thoughts and ideas. The reason I called and I was disappointed, and I'm saying that right now, is because when I called prior to that, 2 weeks later, he had on a guest that had said, "Hey, I infiltrated this little right wing nothing group, blah blah blah." And that whole 1 hour special was very bland, and it was crazy because I was like, man, I literally just told him about the subject that he's literally gonna be doing an interview. And yes, the vessel is a comic book, but that's the funny thing, is that, like, because it doesn't interest him, he's never gonna see that the reason the KKK participation went down is because the one thing that any parent has no answer for is when your little kids tell you in your face your ideas are dumb, your ideas suck, actually that's fucking stupid. That's the real reason the KKK participation fell down. I know that sounds a lot to take in, but here's one thing that I want to say, like, definitively, just to make the points very clear. In the fights of the 60s and 70s, something that's precariously missing now that I've been talking specifically about the KKK is the KKK. If their end was in the 1970s, why are they gone from all these pictures? It's because what happened was they got bullied by their own family not to be members anymore. And that's why in the 60s and 70s, all those pictures of riots and protests are replaced with cops.
Right.
So we're back in the day, the muscle and violence used to be, we're just going to round up the boys and hang them up by the good tree. We were missing that because what happened was their ideas and thoughts were infantilizing. Now, I want to say something else. The very first time I called, my phone got caught off because I mentioned Superman. And I used to always think it was because of that. But another thing that I said, hopefully you remember this, because if not, then I'm just pretty crazy. I think that my first call that I ever made inspired the leftist mafia.
I I honestly don't know. I remember that we did
Can I
that.
tell you what the idea was?
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
The very first time I called, and hopefully it rewinds some wheels in your memory, was I came on here, was very excited, so I sounded like I sound. Still do. Still really excited. But the plan that I was telling you is something that the left is losing because there is no left. People are looking for politicians. There's no politicians that are going to save us. There is nobody that's going to save us. No institutions. They all folded. Universities folded. All these people are folding. And the reason is because, as messed up as it sounds, fucking Tim Pool gets it, man. He fucking gets it. There's a fourth estate of the government, and that's the media. There is no leftist out there saying we need to make an honest media where it's leftist. When I called that a long time ago, I said the leftist needs to organize in a model like, and at that specific time, you would have remembered it because it was going on at the time. T-Series was competing with Mr. What's that YouTuber? Not Mr. Beast.
PewDiePie.
The PewDiePie, exactly. And I called you guys and I said the left, every single organizer, every single leftist content creator, what needs to do is, people can only organize so much. What needs to happen is you guys need to organize so that YouTube respects you guys, so that PayPal, all these payment process has to come to you guys, because at the end of the day, left doesn't have money. We have people. We have tons of left-wing creators. And if you guys unionize in such a way that transcended like your own platform, because I know there's big there's big YouTubers that are left-wingers. There's big Twitch people that are leftovers. There's people that are on TikTok that are big, but there is no unifying when there could be. And I was telling you guys that the model back then was the T-Series specifically, and I only bought PewDiePie up because that was a competition in the day. The T-Series model, what they were doing was just a bunch of artists collectively making a YouTube channel big that was going to get clicks because of its viewerships, because it's a huge umbrella. So just because these points have been more and more clear, I don't know if you saw this random TikTok right-winger that came out, this little short guy that was like, all the left-wings are pussies and I challenge somebody to fight me. And then all these leftist huge people on TikTok specifically responded to that guy.
Right.
It just shows you that there's a ton of different creators, but the thing is, Dragon Ball Z, right? We all have little bits of energies, but if we spirit bombed a media channel that could penetrate all of media, then we wouldn't rely on why isn't CNN doing this? Why isn't MSNBC doing this? Now, I know I'm just throwing this out there and willy nilly, but I actually this sounds pretty
Well, I
crazy.
mean, the reason is that's not left wing media. I mean, they don't. That's not in their interest
That's
to.
what I'm saying that you guys need to do. So what needs to happen is, as crazy as it sounds, Jon Stewart was a failure back in the day. We need to see what he did and failed. Same thing with Colbert. They get to the point where they make jokes, but at the end of the day, they're always folding to capitalism. The reason capitalism is bad is because it's just voluntarily putting a price tag on your morality. If people understood that, then they'd understand, oh, that's why we don't get a raise in minimum wage. Oh, this is why all these bad things happen. This is why we still have to mine diamonds with slave labor um, uh, because of morality. Capitalism makes you put a price tag on your morals.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Yeah, I think I think you bring up a number of good issues here. It really does just come down to right wing media has funding, and it's not even just the money they could throw
Correct, correct,
around. It's the
correct.
time.
No, no,
It's the time that money gives them to be able to
so
spend on these
100%.
things. Yeah.
100%. So
The
this is why just to hash out how the left needs to organize is there's Patreon. There's a bunch of different payment options and stuff where you guys would just all get under one umbrella like a T series and then just have
well,
representation through that where you guys all say
T series is a company. It's a single company. It's a single entity. They
yes,
just there's
but,
like a
but the
music
model,
video.
but the model, but the
Yeah.
model, but the model isn't what you guys would do is just be tiny content subsidiaries for the big channel that would be in all y'all's interest. That's one part of it. What you
Well,
guys would want to do. Huh?
part of the issue there is though that this is for a few people their job, their livelihood,
A
and there
thousand
would
million
be
percent.
and there
So
would be some people.
this is why the financial aspect. Okay, so I get it. You know, it's good to just. I wish this were possible. I wish this is, and you're telling me the negative. So this is the answer to that. The way I'm telling you guys, the leftist content creators need to unionize. It's not the people. People unionize all the time. Half of union labor votes right wing. The content creators need to unionize, and you guys need to unionize so that you guys don't get demonetized when you guys to speak about Israel. If you guys all came to the table, everything you guys talk about athletes, everything you guys talk about wrestling, you guys can
I
apply it
would
to
say.
yourselves. It just takes the courage to do it. And here's what you would get. What would guys do? Make a collective union that's a private company. The reason it needs to be private is because you guys don't know anybody anything. If you guys have a very democratic view on things, then it wouldn't be this is your cake, this is my cake, blah blah blah. It would just be one.
Yeah, I see what you're saying, and I obviously am pro union. I'm in the union for my work as a journalist. But the issue with a union for left wing content creators, like political creators, and not like just creators as a whole, is that there would the platforms would love for political creators to fuck off. Like, we would have no sway over them because we would say we're going to withhold our labor if such and such doesn't happen. So they would say, okay, goodbye, because we cause them more trouble than we are worth, quite frankly.
You're right, individually, and that's what I was getting at
No,
with the
as a
whole
whole
Spirit
too.
Bomb
I
Dragon
mean,
Ball Z thing.
as a whole too, these platforms would love to
10
just
to
do away with
15%. I get it. 10 to
would love to do
15%.
away with
It's still
politics
then in
completely.
people's pocketbooks, and that's the problem. Is that everybody's going to say, oh, these people are messing up, or oh, it's these problems. But at the end of the day, there's never going to be a media message that's left wing, because you guys always say it. You guys always talk about how money's the problem, billionaires are the problem. Well, guess what, guys? Media has been captured long ago. And if there's
No,
not
it
going to be a
has.
media on our
Yeah.
side, there's never going to be somebody that's going to tell the masses what the fuck to think in the right ways. Because it's not just Fox News. It's that CNN, MSNBC, half the time says those guys are reasonable. The other half, they're saying leftist ideas are Looney Tunes. Between that, there is no divide. There's never going to be any divide. And if that's what I was getting at, Jon Stewart was the first failure. So is Colbert. If Sam doesn't find a way, I'm honestly, and not being facetious, find a way to unionize all the leftist creators. It's going to take courage, because I'm telling you right now, there's not going to, all these individual cases of this is how you get it done. That individual case will never get broadcasted to the broader populations without a media in our corner. And as crazy as it sounds, making Sam a billionaire through media and making him unironically one of the big billionaires in his lifetime.
It would be an incredible thing to pull off, but I don't think Sam is good. I don't think any of us could become billionaires, quite frankly.
And
Just being honest with you.
so here's what I was going to say. If you make a media organization with all the content creators,
I think
you make
it would
so
be.
that every single patron for a single year puts every single donation, say like, oh, a percentage to it. We're going to make a fund for all us, for one entity. That entity is going to hold secure money, blah, blah, blah. And from every single view from all across the board, a percentage of it is going to add up. Pennies. Literally, that's the whole point of Office Space, is it will
Well, I mean,
take time.
that's what the guy who created Patreon does. Like that
exactly.
was. I mean,
that's what I'm getting at.
Right.
It just takes
He was a
time and
creator
initiative and
at first, and then he created Patreon, and because you make a lot more. But
it just
but
takes the
Patreon's
vision
for
and doing.
but Patreon's for the broad creator user
Because
base.
what I'm saying
It's
about
not
Patreon
for a
is because
specific
that works on
niche.
all the platforms, and if you withhold, and here's the thing, is that like that you're wanting to bring it back to politics, right? But that's why I brought up that little guy that made that challenge, because there was a ton of people that were leftist content creators from other walks of life. There's people that do outdoorsy stuff only that happen to be leftist. One time I remember hearing on the Majority Report, God, what was his name? Xander. He was a porn star. Called, and he was talking about his left-wing ideas. There's so many different content creators that can withhold all their content and money through those mediums. If you guys just had some figure, and the reason I keep bringing Sam over and over is because there is nobody else that's trusted like that. Like Jon Stewart, we've seen he's failed. So is Colbert. And it's crazy.
I would say Colbert and Jon Stewart are. I think to add them to this. I mean, they were never like left-wing content creators. They were mainstream TV show hosts.
For the point in time, though, there was no other thing though.
No, right? No, without a doubt,
So,
they've Jon Stewart especially. I think adding Colbert in this doesn't make any sense because I don't think he's on the same level. But Jon Stewart, for example, without a doubt, has great politics, smart guy. But I wouldn't say he's like a content creator in the same fashion. He's a professional comedian, professional actor, professional television host who had a corporate, a gig as a TV, he was cast in a show.
My point in calling them failures is doing the same thing that George Carlin was doing, is being great identifiers of problems and then understanding all the wretchedness, all the vileness, and then just being like, oh, yeah, it's money in politics, but it's money because they captured everything. They've captured all these different things, so much to the point that we live in what I call the internet dark ages, because everything is hyper-sectionalized, and that's what I'm getting at, is that if there is no unity with everybody, it's different sectional. If I wanted to spend the rest of my life,
I think the opposite actually. I think
politics,
the internet's become too broad. I think we've gone.
That's why it's hyper-sectionalized. That's why it's hyper-sectionalized. I'm getting at the point that if I want to spend the rest of my life only dwelling in mushroom growing in the Pacific Northeast, guess what? There's a subreddit, there's blogs.
No, but that's good. That's how it should be.
It's hyper-sectionalized.
That's great.
No,
I think it should be like that.
No, because that favors money, because at the end of the day, all those umbrellas have to be filtered through the owners. And you guys always point this out. So that's what I'm getting at, is that until all those patches of land that have been hypersexualized come to the unifying cause, what's making all these things worse? Oh, it's capitalism, because it's putting moral price tag on our morals. That's why we have to sell all these things. That's why there's school and debt in the list for lunches. That's why we're talking about child labor replacing immigrant labor now, because all these people have put a price tag on their morality. And rather than all these individual batches of internet space saying, yeah, it's the same guys, why is it that all the red states aren't super beacons of perfectionists that they claim that they're making, and still just bad? It's because their media tells them everything's good, everything's golden, and the left-wing media does the same thing to them. That's what I keep saying, that until a left-wing person says we need to make a strong 50-state solution for running for presidency be damned. If there's not a 50-state solution for media, there's never going to be left-wing policies. People are here for it. They want all those things. People feel weird and think they're loners and outsiders because the media and popular culture doesn't reinforce these. That's why I'm saying it's hypersexualized. It doesn't matter what you watch. They're all telling you the same things.
All right, I think you're losing me a little bit on this one, but
the hypersexualized.
no, I get what you're saying. I mean, like in terms of agreement, I think I feel differently about that. But let's continue this conversation, because we've been going. I gotta take some other calls. We've been going for 30 minutes, which is great. I love these long calls, but I do have to. I think 30 minutes have to say let's continue this another day. No, it was a great call. Have a great night. I appreciate it. Call in anytime.
Bye. Stetson Kennedy, please have them just look at his list of books. I'm so sorry. Last thing, he literally wrote a book on what sunset cities were and how to avoid them, which is why I said at one time that he's the father of the 60s and people don't know his names. Look at the history of all the books he read in his biography. If you don't, you're literally missing out on, again, what the KKK, how it came down. I cannot stress that enough. I'm sorry.
No, thank you. No, absolutely. People should look into it. I'm going to look more into it too. Have a great night.
You too. Bye.
Bye. Let's go to, we got a bunch of calls. Let's go to this one. 304. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, is this Matt?
No, this is Bob. Who's this?
No, this is Patrick. Hey, this is Ren calling from Oregon.
Hey, Ren, how are you?
I wanted to build off of some stuff that the previous caller said.
Do you?
I think that caller is suffering from a terminal amount of time spent on computer. I think that people on the left spend too much time on the computer.
I think that's true. I think in general, people spend too much time online. I don't know if people have noticed. If you're on social media, you might have seen me post less this past month because I've been busy with the kids. But it is I don't like I sit down to try to I still go on to just see what's going on generally in the world. But in terms of me putting things out there, I'm just I am going to enjoy this sort of mini break I've taken from writing shit on social media because I'm enjoying not doing it so much. I mean, obviously, my job requires me to be a part of. I think if you watch Leftist Mafia, you'll see David Dole is going through a similar thing, and Mike Figueredo is going through a similar thing, and Lance is going through a similar thing. It's just we're spending so much time online, but for what? For what purpose? Just to fight with people?
Hey, Matt.
Yeah.
I know a guy that came up with the idea for Leftist Mafia.
Oh, do you?
Yeah, your previous caller.
Yeah, I don't know where I thought he was gonna go somewhere. I don't think he got to that, or I don't remember him getting to that. If anyone's interested, as far as I knew, the beginning of Leftist Mafia was we did Lance had his midterm stream in 2022, and it went so well. We were like, why don't we do this every week? And so we did. I don't know if someone else gave us the inspiration or the name. Possibly, I don't recall, but it's possible because I don't remember anything anymore. I'm getting old. I tell my kids that all the time because I'm noticing I'm forgetting a little bit more than usual about things. And
Yeah.
they'd be like I'll constantly be like, "Fuck, where'd I park the car?"
I mean, I'm going to be so honest with you,
And the
Matt.
kids,
I think a lot of that is stress. I think a lot of that is stress, and because you have like a bunch of kids that you're raising. I have a
it's
ton of stress,
possible. It's
and I'm
possible.
22, and I don't remember where I parked the car sometimes.
There you go. So maybe it's not old age, but I tell them it is, and they get very angry at me. They go, I go, "Up, I'm getting old," and they go, "No, you're young. You're young." They don't like that I'm getting when I mention that I'm getting old, it bothers them. But it's cute.
Aw.
I like it. But it's also very disturbing when you're watching so I'm watching MLS the other day, and I was watching a clip from an Inter Miami game.
What is MLS?
Major League Soccer. It's the U.S. Soccer
Okay,
League.
okay.
So I'm watching an Inter Miami clip. That's the team Messi is on, and Messi scores this fantastic goal, weaving through defensive players on the other team, and then just nailing it in the back of the net. And the commentator, to describe the play, goes, "And the 38-year-old legs of Messi." And I'm like, "Wait, what? Why are you doing that?"
You feel
Stop.
called out.
It's
You feel called out.
Yes, I'm like, first of all, why are you describing his legs that way? Stop it. And he's like, still one of the best players in soccer in the world. Why are you ragging on him for being 38 years old when he's that good still at 38? Why are you calling his legs the 38-year-old legs of Messi? Are we gonna
Do you want an answer? It's because that commentator used to do stuff recreationally playing soccer when he was in his 20s, and then he got an injury at 27 and felt too old to do it anymore. And now he's 62. And his entire life, the second you hit 32, 33 years old with soccer, you're done. It's over.
I will say,
and so that
it
generation
is
is shocked to see somebody almost 40 still playing like that.
As someone who got really into sports later in life than most guys, I guess, especially specifically with soccer and baseball. I was always a soccer fan, but you guys know. You guys heard me talk about it. But
oh yeah,
it is very disturbing as someone in my late 30s to hear sports talk about age. Now, yes, I know that players are considered to be in their prime at certain ages. For some sports, it's early for gymnastics, it's like late teens, early 20s. Maybe early 20s might even be too late, but whatever. But like for most sports, it's like, mid 20s, late 20s, maybe early 30s for some sports. But it's very disturbing to hear them start talking about elderly sports players when they start talking about mid 30s.
They're younger than you.
Like I'm listening to people talk about how the Mets just signed a 34-year-old relief pitcher, and what are they thinking? The guy's only got, he might even have a few more years left, and it's like, excuse me. If he can go, he can go. Who cares about his age? See, I think that's why I'm a pro wrestling fan. Yeah, fucking Ric Flair and Terry Funk out there wrestling until they were in their 70s. And in pro wrestling, honestly, it's because the prime number of people being in their prime of their career, like the absolute best, is starting to be like mid to late 40s, even early 50s for some guys. So for pro wrestling, I'm all for it. Be as old as, go for it. Yes, I love it. Every sport should be like wrestling when it comes to age.
Matt, I'm about to have to go off the phone because I'm making dinner for my friends. But I did have a point that I wanted to get around to, besides all the joking.
Go ahead, yep.
So the last joke I wanted to do is, I know the reason that Kamala Harris lost the 2024 election, and it's because Sam Cedar wouldn't pick up my calls. The other thing, other thing is like, when it comes to like the left, oh, go ahead.
No,
Sorry.
you go ahead. I was
I'll
gonna
let
make a
you
joke,
talk.
but it's pointless. Go ahead. You were gonna say something actual, so go ahead.
When it comes to the left and when it comes to like actually like building power and doing stuff, so much of this, and I know that this is going to come off like a capitalist mindset, but like if you want to get a union, you need to work on your drinking problem. If you want to like get political wins, you need to show up to Democratic Socialists of America. You need to show up to that meeting. You need to bring your friends. You need to make sure that your friends get off their couch once a month to show up to something. Because at the end of the day, like if you don't get outside and actually do things and touch grass and get off the computer, you're not going to get anywhere. And I know there's a lot of people that are on the internet that are talking about strategy, talking about these different things. You have to supplement that with some real action. And so like, yeah, if you want to like make the world a better place.
I do think there's way too much.
Go ahead.
I do think there are people who put way too much into, and I say this as this is obviously speaking out against my career and what I do for a living, but I'm being honest with you. I think obviously, news and commentary and analysis is important, but I do think there is sometimes too much placed onto that. I think it's important for people who are already politically active. And I don't even mean like on the street. I just mean people who pay attention and know what's going on. And I think obviously that's important for them, but for the average person, what we do is completely
Monday morning quarterbacking.
It's inconsequential.
You do Monday morning quarterbacking, actual electoral politics. I can't speak for the life of me.
It's just inconsequential for people, because if people aren't interested in this stuff, they're not watching, and if they do come across it, that doesn't necessarily mean anything to them. Because they're not politically active, and they don't they don't know what they don't get it. I think maybe there are ways to maybe get them to the table there, but I don't think it starts with the commentators and the creators.
No. Because if you just start with like commentary, all you're going to have is like somebody on Sirius XM talking about college football. Like that's all it's going to be. That's all it's going to turn into. Like that guy who's talking on college radio, like he's not affecting who's getting drafted and who's getting picked to play on the teams. But like if you're actually, sorry, go ahead.
No, I wasn't saying anything. Go ahead. I wasn't even. I mean, you might have heard something. I wasn't saying anything.
Okay, so a good prescription that I'll give to people who are listening, if you want to do something that's really important, if you want to do something that will give you the opportunity to do way more political organizing down the line, you should set up food distribution. And you should look at how you can set up methods for getting people hungry fed, like getting people that are hungry food, whether that's them showing up to a centralized location or you going out and taking food to people. It shouldn't be something that is just a one-time individual action. It should be a thing where you show up with your friends and you can do something at a set time, once a month, twice a month, once a week if you can do that. But like that's the thing that I set my mind on 2 years ago, and it worked really well for me. And I think that whatever it is, honestly, it doesn't have to be doing a food pantry. It doesn't have to be doing a hot meal program. Do something where you can get together with like-minded people consistently, like every month, and do something that serves the public good. And you're going to meet other people who are interested in that if you do that.
Mm-hmm. No, absolutely. I think spot on. Just, any sort of real life, even if it's not even, you wouldn't consider it necessarily to be politics. Any sort of real life interaction with people, just even but just like community, like building and connecting with people, your neighbors, like stuff like that matters in the long run. For even you don't even realize sometimes.
Yeah, like I was going and doing like a public comment thing at like a county government, whatever the hell, and like I got brushed off, and I was walking back. And I saw a homeless guy that I see every week at the meal program, and the police were giving him bullshit and causing him trouble. And I talked to another one of my young friends, and we like buzzed around and like talked to him and kept an eye on things and made sure that they weren't going to arrest him or anything. And then we went on our way. And then I saw him later that night at the church, like doing the dinner thing. And there are so many people that voted for Trump or don't like immigrants or don't like gay people, and they show up to a community thing and they agree that it's a good thing that should happen. And like, you know, the people that show up there, like they are united by a class interest, whether they realize it or not. And when Elon Musk does some bullshit with Doge, like people are saying, I know Trump and Elon are rich, but not everybody else effing is. Like there is actual like class consciousness forming in those places. People starting to understand how the system is fucking them over when you get people together like that. And those places are important. Yeah, it's about getting to know your neighbors.
No, absolutely. Yeah.
Thanks for your time, Matt.
No,
I'm gonna
thank
drop
you.
off.
Always a pleasure to talk with you, Ren. Have a great night.
Be well.
All right. Let's see. I'll take jeez, how did time fly by? I thought this was a short. We barely started, and we're already an hour in. I'll take another call. I'll take another call. No. Whoever just hung up. Oh my God, a bunch of you just hung up. I think you thought I was saying, and now you're all calling back. I think you thought I was saying that's the end. You thought I was queuing it up. No, we'll take a few more. 901. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hi, this is Amy. I'm calling from Illinois, and I wanted to talk about the HR 1319 and 1320 that is supposed to be redefining workers. It's called the Modern Worker Empowerment Act. Are you familiar with that?
I'm not actually. I'm looking it up right now. I might have heard about it, and I can't recall, but I'm looking it up right now. But go ahead, talk. Let's see what you have to say.
So it's passed. Yeah, it's passed out of committee in Congress, and so I don't know if and when it's going to be coming to the floor. But basically, what it's going to do, they call it the Modern Worker Empowerment Act. And so, of course, you know, it's the opposite of that. And what it's going to do is basically reclassify workers or make it so that companies basically can call pretty much anyone independent contractors. And so then, you know, once you do that, if everybody's an independent contractor, then pretty much all the laws we have protecting people and the ability to organize and all of that stuff goes away.
Right. I recall this now.
So I guess I want...
Yes.
Go ahead.
No, I recall this now. Yeah, this congressman from I think California, Kevin Kiley. That's yeah. I'm looking it up. Yeah, he introduced the bill. Yeah, of course they phrase it as it's to protect independent workers and businesses. Right. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. But
so what I'm hearing, I guess some people are saying like, if this goes, then pretty much all companies are going to take people from employee status to, you know, 1099 status or whatever. So then, you know, I guess I want to know, how likely do you think that is that companies would actually kind of do that to all their workers? Are they going to kind of do that right away or start moving towards that if this were to pass? It seems pretty scary to think of us losing all of the few rights that we do have in this country for workers. Like, we're going to lose those protections too.
Well, what would likely happen is that small businesses would probably be the first to make that move. You know, I hate to say it, but in certain scenarios, big corporations are actually better to their employees than small businesses that, you know, the right loves to like put on a pedestal. Like I know a lot of people who worked for small businesses, and you know, growing up, restaurants, various service industry jobs, and all those places compared to like when they get a gig at like a corporate chain, the small businesses usually treated them like shit, and the corporate chain treated them decently for the type of job it was. Because they got money to treat their workers decently, I guess, and small businesses like to pinch pennies so they could make it work, I guess. But that's what would happen. Small businesses, without a doubt, be the first take advantage of this. And I think big companies would probably not, because it's in their interest to keep employees with them. It saves them money, actually, for people to stay with them and not
Right. So,
yeah.
well, I was just going to, retention. It would help with them with retention and recruitment and stuff like that to still have some benefits. But the other thing is that, so HR 1319 lets them redefine, but then HR 1320 says having benefits doesn't make you a worker. You can still be a contract worker with what they call portable benefits, which is like insurance and stuff like that the big companies. So they could still give you benefits and still call you a 1099 worker. And then really the only thing it does is makes it so you're no longer able to have like unions or, sort of the protections that we have.
Right. No, they're looking to, this would obviously look to whittle away at all of those things that, come with being an employee at a company. But it's funny because so much of company, especially small businesses, issues with being an employer have to do with benefits, right? Providing benefits. And in other countries, a huge part of your benefits don't need to be taken care of by the company because they have universal health care or government provided health insurance. Whereas,
well, of course, that's the real answer because,
yes.
I mean, they pay so. That is the thing that's so hard for small businesses to be able to deal with, because they're going to even pay higher rates for insurance because they don't have as large of a group to draw on. So yeah, I get that, how it might feel like a relief to small businesses, but yeah, if we had Medicare for all, of course we wouldn't have to deal with that.
It would be a huge help for companies that can't, small businesses that have to, that's a major expense for them. It would be a huge help to, obviously, employees because they don't have to be tied to a job based on health insurance. They would be able to move around a lot more, and maybe some companies don't want that, so that's why they don't want. That's why maybe one of the reasons they don't want that to be provided to employees. But I think it would be a lot easier for people to you hear about small business owners as a major sort of constituency for both Democrats and Republicans. They're always working to acknowledge small business owners, right? Well,
right.
How much easier would it be for someone to be a small business owner, even start a small business, if they didn't have to provide health insurance for employees because it was provided to them by the government? It'd be huge.
It would be, but the funny thing is that small business owners tend to be more Republicans, and most of them would be against that. And it's like, don't you see how much that would help your business?
Yeah, well, a lot of times these guys work against their own interests, right? That's the Republican motto, right? The base works against their own interests. So many times you got some of the poorest of the poor voting against their own interests, voting for Medicaid, Medicare cuts with their love for Trump. I mean, it is absurd, but that's what people do because you know what? People don't think about these things. They just don't. They don't think about these things. And they'll never learn. People don't learn. I've been doing this for long enough to think, next time those people can't make the same mistake, right? No, they will, absolutely. Because at the end of the day, there are certain people who would vote against their own interests, even though as it's happening to them, they'll say they wouldn't. But when they go into that voting booth, they will, because at the end of the day, some people just prefer to see other people hurt. And that's what provides them joy in their life, honestly. It's sad for some people, honestly.
And even if they don't necessarily want to see people hurt, I think they just almost have a contempt for workers. They just, and even other workers, they'll be like, I'm a good worker, but I think all the other workers are lazy. And they just seem to have this almost contempt for employees. And employees are the majority of this country. I don't get it.
Right. I mean, I think a lot of it has to do with people are generally a good portion of people are generally unhappy with their life. That's just a part of this. That's part of life. That they're
Part of capitalism.
unfulfilled, not doing what they want to do, not as successful as they wanted to be at this stage in their life. They don't have what they want, whatever that might be, whether it be relationships or money or property or adulation from their peers or whatever it is. And I think part of what political ideology you end up going towards is how you deal with that unhappiness. And there's a good amount of people who deal with that unhappiness by wanting to see other people do worse than them instead of wanting to lift themselves and others up. And I think those are the type of people that end up going Republican, obviously. I mean, it's just always looking for a scapegoat, always looking as to why they are miserable and not looking within or looking at what powers that be are holding them down. No, they look at immigrants, they look at trans people, they look at anyone who looks differently from them or thinks differently than them. That's whose fault it is, not the people who are making money off of them. No, it can't be those people. But that's where we are, you know.
That's a very astute observation. I think everybody is so tied into the hierarchy that they have. They want to make sure they're just one rung up so that they have some other people to look down on. But I'll let you go, but I do also want to say congrats on the new family member, and I'm sure you're a wonderful and wise dad.
Oh, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. And this is your first time calling in, I think, right? Because I don't recognize your voice. So please call in anytime. This was a great call. I really appreciate it.
Well, thank you. Thank you so much.
Have a great night.
Okay, have a great one.
Bye.
You too. Bye.
I always love hearing voices I don't usually hear because, when you do a show, and I'm sure you guys know this when you listen to the Majority Report, there are the regulars who call in. And I love the regulars calling in. Always bring good conversation. They are reliable. They are consistent. But I love hearing new people call in more than anything, honestly. All right, let's go to let's take a few more. 910. What is your name? Where are you calling from? 910. You got to turn down the stream.
Oh, sorry. Hold on.
No problem.
Hey, it's Henry from North Carolina.
Hey, how you doing? What was it to talk about?
No, so I hate to extend this conversation a bit, but about the you had that Superman call a while ago, and I talked about Superman last week. The whole Klan thing, that's actually was the Superman radio show. It wasn't the comic.
Oh, okay.
And that it was a radio show in 1946, and it was so popular, it mocked the Klan so severely, it gutted recruitment all over the country. And it was from the radio. It was actually from the radio show. They did a comic version of it later, but there was the radio show, which was very popular. It was listened on like almost 5% of all radios in the country at one point. It was an incredibly popular show. And so when they the guy was right about the name of the guy who I forget. It's not in front of me right now, but the name of the guy who
Stetson.
It was like
it was Stetson Kennedy.
Stetson Kennedy, yeah. Kennedy was the guy who spread out a lot of information about the Klan, and then he contacted the producers of the show, and they're like, "Oh, that's a great idea. We need a new villain to fight." And so they did that, and that's what kind of that did really hurt the Klan because it mocked them and it ridiculed them, and people were like, "Yeah, I don't want to be part of this." Right. So once you've been mocked and ridiculed and torn down in popular culture, it really made a major blow to them. So that's all true.
No, I think the point, that general point is I think that's why I joke about these things because it mocks them. Like when I cover certain things and we do it in like a humorous way, it's because I do think making something seem lame and uncool is a major motivator for people to not like something. And, I wish you could just sit down and explain the merits and all that. But for the vast majority, if something looks fucking stupid and lame, then you know what? They'll call it fucking stupid and lame and not want to be a part of it. And you know what? We should use that to our advantage because a lot of the things that we don't agree with politically are stupid and lame and deserve to be mocked.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I'm an academic and I've studied, rhetoric and language for a while. And
Right.
it just facts don't convince people. Like if you're trained to do it as an academic, then facts do convince you. The problem with that is if you deal with facts all the time, you start thinking that works on other people.
Right.
And it only works if they've been trained to do it. Narratives convince people, which is why politicians love to bring out individual stories about, let me tell you about Barbara in Kansas and her story, and that affects people.
Right.
Because narratives and stories, they get to people. They get to the heart of it, even though it's anecdotal, and you can say, oh, it's anecdotal evidence. Not yet. It doesn't matter. Stories convince people. Yeah, ridicule works.
No,
Baby
you're
man fucks
absolutely right.
couches.
People, I think that people are at a different spot in terms of how they understand things. And I think like a lot of people, this is obvious for anything, but I mean like, you come to it, you come into this from your sort of baseline of reality and understanding. And they think people just automatically assume that that's where everybody else is. It's just not the case. And I think you learn this as you interact with more people, which is obviously another good case for why sometimes you need to just interact with people so you learn more about how others are observing the world around you.
Oh yeah, the woman was calling in about getting off your butt and going outside. Go outside. Yeah, go talk to people. It's totally true. It's totally true. If you're all you're doing is Facebook and Blue Sky, and those are valuable things, and I'm on there all the time. But if that's all you're doing, you're not actually talking and interacting with people, finding out how they think and how they view the world, then yeah, that's what people are talking about. It's absolutely true. You need to understand how other people view things. But yeah. Narratives, yeah. Mock, ridicule, call them stupid, call them lazy, call them weak and lazy. Those are the things I think are going to work the best. Calling them weak and calling them lazy.
And it'll really get under their skin too. Those guys, the guys who the right, it'll really get under their skin because they
don't
love to project.
They don't want to be weak.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, they don't want to be viewed as weak. And anything you can do to make them seem inferior or weird, stop doing the weird thing. God, that could have worked.
Yeah,
that really could have worked if they just stuck with calling them weird and strange. Just weird. They're freaking weird. All of the guys in
it's not
they're weird.
It's not
RFK's weird.
It's not normal.
The way they
talk, the way they talk, the way they present themselves. They are a perfect example of what we were just discussing. Of the right, and you see this with so many right-wing influencers, especially. They don't understand where most people's baseline is. They are constantly speaking just to their audience of people who are online in right-wing media 24/7. So when they make some sort of inside joke, I think the fucking Peanut the Squirrel thing was a perfect example. A story that would probably be able to touch a lot of people. The state stepped in and took someone's pet squirrel because squirrel's a wild animal. You can't keep them as a pet, and they euthanized the squirrel. I think it makes the government look stupid doing that. And I think it's a story that you could have used. They could have used to their advantage, but instead they turned it into a fucking meme without even explaining the the story to people. And they just referenced it and referred to Peanut the Squirrel as if everyone knows what the fuck they're talking about. And it made them look crazy. And that's even like a nice example because there are so many other things that they talk about. Like when they talk about trans people and all other, ridiculous beliefs they have. But they talk about it in their inside joke, winking and nudge, like a nudge, nudge, wink, wink way. They look crazy to people because most people have no idea what they are referencing, what they are referring to. But they're weird, like you said. They're absolutely weird, and they
But
don't get it.
but sometimes it works. I mean,
To their audience,
they made
I don't think most
yeah,
people.
to their
Yeah.
well, yeah, but they made Benghazi into a trigger word, and just to the point where they're just being Benghazi, 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 Benghazi. It was just constant, and it worked on a lot of people. It just became a trigger word for people without really understanding what actually happened there.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, they did the same thing with Epstein, and look how it's biting them in the ass now. I mean, I guarantee you.
Yeah, Epstein,
I guarantee you, most people,
Epstein.
most people outside of this online political bubble of being, connected to the news 24/7 and always knowing what's going on and all of the little, not only the big stories but the side stories of the day and all. If you're not 24/7 news cycle oriented and you heard Epstein, you probably do not know the details. You just connect Epstein with something bad involving, child trafficking or something like that. That's probably all you know about it. So they've bit themselves in the ass with this one because that's how they've trained people with Epstein, and now Trump's out there going, Epstein stole women, stole girls from my Mar-a-Lago spa or whatever. And it's like, whoa, wait a minute, what?
Yeah. Oh, and that also that kills one of the points the online people counter the Trump thing was like Trump kicked Epstein out because he was being inappropriate, which is something he did say before.
Oh, he just blew
what
that
he meant
out.
by inappropriate.
Yeah, he ruined
now
his own
explain
excuse.
what inappropriate meant. People are like, oh yeah, because he was being inappropriate. He was being inappropriate by stealing one of his girls.
Yeah, he keeps stepping in it. He can't help himself because he doesn't.
No,
he doesn't know what like the storyline is that was fed to his audience. Because I think a lot of people think that Trump was obsessed with Epstein. He wasn't. Like he would mention Epstein to placate his base because he knew his base was obsessed with it. But Trump actually wasn't the guy who made Epstein into a thing. It was just like the hardcore Trump supporters who became obsessed with QAnon-style child trafficking conspiracies, glommed onto Epstein because it was the one actual real-life example that was confirmed.
Yeah.
But Trump himself never was Epstein-brained like his base was. So he doesn't know what like the storyline is to his base. So he's going to just keep stepping in it without knowing that like, he shouldn't have done that.
He doesn't know anything. I mean, he's barely literate, so it's not like he reads briefing books. He can barely read.
Right.
And so he doesn't keep track of all that. He just knows that he gets up and he says things and he tries to be funny and all that, and it works. But since he doesn't actually know anything, he can't keep his story straight.
Right.
So and since he's lied constantly his whole life and gotten away with it, he doesn't think it matters.
Right.
Yeah.
No, absolutely.
And I mean, honestly, and as far as the Epstein thing, I honestly think keep hammering it, Epstein it constantly because they don't want to talk about it and they think it's going to go away. I don't think this is going away. I don't think this.
Oh, no way, no way.
And if they manage to let Maxwell out, I think that's only going to piss people off.
Oh, did you see?
I do not think that's going to work at all.
Did you see the latest thing where Trump is considering pardoning P. Diddy?
Diddy?
Yeah.
Diddy? What the?
I mean, the dude can't help himself. He sees. You know what? It wouldn't even surprise me if he had no fucking clue that the Diddy thing is another thing that's big within his base, as Diddy confirming by Diddy's actions that there is, fucking trafficking going on in liberal Hollywood. The liberal entertainment world. No, absolutely. It is stunning.
Yeah.
He's gonna just keep stepping in it. Like he's gonna keep. He's gonna talk about like posthumously pardoning Jeffrey Epstein next for some reason. I guarantee it.
I don't think he's that dumb, but yeah. Good God. Yeah. The other thing is, I I don't even not even sure that we should use euphemisms. I think we should just flat out say, yeah, Trump fucked little girls.
Right. Well, you're gonna get
Blunt.
some Trump supporters who are like, well, technically it's ebophilia,
Yeah,
not.
oh, yeah, but that puts them on the defensive. That's like, well, no, they're not technically. Yeah, they are.
Yeah.
No, and you keep saying it. Just keep saying, yeah. Well, Trump screwed little girls. Trump raped little girls, and it's just.
I mean, he definitely has
Yeah.
been found credibly guilty of actually committing rape against women. It's not far fetched that like his connection with Epstein went further than just sexually assaulting women, grown women. You know, we know he had previous weird things going on with young girls. His Miss USA pageant or whatever it was, Miss Universe, I forget which one he
Yup.
owned, where he would walk into the room of the underage contestants, and they would be like, you know, getting dressed and ready, and he would just be walking in and stuff, and where he shouldn't have been, and he's had been caught on video and camera, basically saying inappropriate things to little girls. I mean, you know, it's not. But you know, we'll see where this goes. I think it'll be interesting to keep it going. I think anyone who wants to move on from it is either a fucking idiot or potentially implicated in the Epstein files.
Yeah. Yeah, but I mean, this also cuts back to something you were saying before. You're talking about the fact that some people just like hurting people.
Oh,
And that's another way to cut through this nonsense. Be like, people just like, yeah, they want to hurt people. They want to inflict pain. They want to hurt people. They like hurting people. And I think that's better than saying, well, look at all this stuff you want to hurt people. You like hurting people. And the same thing when calling somebody a racist, I don't think is as effective as saying, yeah, he doesn't like black people, or he hates Mexicans, or something like that.
right.
Being more blunt about it. Being more, it strikes more to the core, and it makes them much more defensive.
Yeah.
They're like, no, that's not true. And you put them on the defensive, that makes them look weak. It makes them look weak.
No, absolutely. I think we have to do as much as possible to drive home to people that these guys not only don't have the answer, they are the problem. And you know, these guys could also include Democrats who get in the way and try to stop
Yep.
the wheels of progress and going after Republicans. You know, I mean,
Well, some of these people are like, oh no, I mean, Democrats will get exposed. Bill Clinton, and like, yeah, we don't.
good.
Don't
I
go around
don't.
with
Yeah,
Bill Clinton
please.
flags and Bill Clinton T-shirts. We don't care about. I'm old enough to have voted for the guy, but like, I don't care about him. I don't. Yeah, screw him. Did he diddle kids? Screw that guy. I don't care. I don't care who it takes down, because honestly, look at the statistics. There's a lot more conservatives running around diddling kids. Because let's look at the ideologies. If you've got one ideology that says, hey, you should respect people, you should listen to women, you should respect women, you should get consent, that's one ideology. And the other ideology is, hey, be a man, take what you want, be a man. Are you? You're not a wuss, are you? Go out there and take what you want. Don't care what other people say. Don't care about the law. Go out and take what you want. Which of those ideologies is more likely to rape kids? What do you think?
All right.
What do you think?
Yeah. I mean, I guess to just put an ending on our conversation, which has been fantastic, by the way, is under no circumstances should this be moved on from. In fact, any attempt to move on from it, it should be immediately swatted down, batted down, and the issue should be immediately brought back up tenfold. This is big.
This is our Benghazi. This is
bigger than Benghazi. This is
10 times
bigger.
Benghazi. This is our bone that we do not let go of. We do not let go of the Epstein bone.
This has the potential to be the ruination of him, without a doubt. They just got to keep on it. They just got to keep on it. You'll have people turn against him over this. I mean, you're already sort of seeing the cracks being laid for certain people where like they're like, actually, I can't move on from this one. This is where I'm questioning Trump. What the hell is he doing here? What's going on? Good. Let them continue to think that there's something fishy about him trying to escape this Epstein talk. Just the talk he's trying to escape from. Because you know what? Without a doubt, there's something really fucking fishy about his reaction to all this. I mean, I'm someone, I've said this before, I'm someone who is not conspiracy brained about the Epstein thing. I was someone who thought this is fairly straightforward. There are certainly some weird details. Let's take his death, for example. I thought maybe the conspiracy theory was that like he was allowed to commit suicide. But the guy killed himself. He was a super rich guy who was about to face some real justice, not that little bit of justice he faced in Florida years prior. He was going to face, this was going to be the end of him being a free man. And he couldn't take it because this was a guy who could do whatever he wanted, and now he can't do anything. So he killed himself. That's what I thought. Now I'm like, dude, Trump himself fucking walked in there during those 3 minutes of edited footage and fucking snuffed out Epstein personally. Because it's fucking weird how they're acting about this. This is not how you act when you are innocent.
No. He didn't kill Epstein. He ordered somebody else to do it.
Something like that, right? It's something like that, though.
I don't know. I think it's more likely that he killed himself, but I don't care. Still keep hammering it, hammer.
Even if it's it could be more likely, but also why would they just not? Why would they go through all they're going through to hide it? It's so fucking
it looks
weird.
So
it's so fucking weird.
Yeah, weird. Yeah, weird. That's even better.
I mean,
yeah,
everything he's
weird.
done has been about this been so weird. The sudden grasping at straws to just throw whatever shit at the wall that he thinks could stick. Obama made them. Actually, I meant Biden. Actually, it was Comey. Oh no, it was Brennan, who you haven't heard me mention in like 10 years. No, it's this guy. It's Hillary herself. Like they are flailing. Trump is flailing about this. And it makes you wonder why.
It was
why would you
Michael
flail
Dukakis.
about this?
It was Jimmy Carter.
Yeah,
further
why?
Back in time. Flailing.
If you just knew the guy, even like if that's the degree of connection you have to him, where you knew him. You were friendly with him in the early, 2000s before he got convicted in Florida of sex crimes. If you just this was a guy who was someone different, when he wasn't around you, and you cut ties and you did nothing wrong around him, you wouldn't be acting this way. It's so weird. Because it means that Trump is hiding something.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the only real way you can make any sense of this. I mean, why would he act this way? It boggles the mind, I guess, if you're someone who doesn't want to face facts that you would only do this if you're implicated somehow. I don't know what he did. Maybe he didn't do anything, and maybe he didn't actually do anything physically. Maybe he just helped Epstein in some way, which obviously is still a crime and horrible. But he did something because he's fucking flailing.
Yeah.
All right, this was a great call. I appreciate it. I think I think this is my last call tonight because it was nice and long and good and perfect way to end the night. Have a great night. I appreciate it. Call in anytime.
Good to talk to you, man. Left is best. Max left.
Yep. Take care.
Bye.
Bye. All right, folks. That's the show for tonight. I'm gonna read the super chats and I'll let you all go, and I'll see you in roughly 12 hours for the majority report, right? The super chats. Here we go. Tokyo Hans with a few super chats here. Usama wants to know if he can call in through Zoom. He has some minutes left. Next time, Usama, okay? I'll log into Zoom next time. Tokyo Hans gave 5 gift memberships. Thank you, Tokyo Hans. And also, Tokyo Hans says, I just realized that Matt looks just like the handsome guy from Leftist Mafia. It happens to be on tomorrow, and everyone should check it out to confirm. I think he shows up on the majority report, too. Oh, it's very kind of you, Tokyo Hans, to call me handsome. Bad Enchilada with the membership super chat. Lib and Learn had the Vanguard on, and it's your turn now. Who's Lib and Learn? Who's Lib and Learn? I don't know who Lib and Learn is. Be happy to go on any show though. Kowalski with the super chat. Matt is looking pretty old these days. Kowalski also says Matt can't take calls till 2 a.m. because he is too old. Yep, I am. My age is just catching up with me. The Django Fett over on Twitch, resubscriber Prime, subscriber for 7 months. Thank you so much, the Django Fett. All right, folks, let's see. Who should I raid over on Twitch? Let's see. Who is on? All right, I see. Actual Jake is on. I don't think I've rated Actual Jake in a while. Let's rate Actual Jake. All right, folks. I will see you on the majority report tomorrow. I will see you on Leftist Mafia tomorrow. I'll be on the majority report at youtube.com/ is it still Sam Cedar, or did they change it? But I'm sure it goes there too. Or on Leftist Mafia right here on this channel, youtube.com/Matt Binder. I will see you all in just a few hours. Have a great night. And I'm rating Actual Jake over on Twitch now. Enjoy the rest of your night, folks. Take care.